Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Meraj Kidwai, and I hope you all are doing wonderfully well and taking good care of yourselves. Today, I'm going to talk about how we can enhance logical reasoning. Before we can understand how we can enhance logical reasoning, it's important to know what is actually the meaning of logical reasoning. So, in this video presentation, I'm going to cover up the topic of logical reasoning, understanding the minute details around this particular topic, understanding its classifications, how one can develop logical reasoning, and how we can apply this knowledge in the real world. Okay, so stay tuned. So, what are we going to cover up in this particular presentation? We are going to introduce what is logical reasoning, why it's important to develop, what are the types and strategies that we can develop to improve logical reasoning skill, because it is a skill, of course, and how we can apply in the real world, how we can apply our knowledge. Before that, I would like to tell you that how the logical reasoning emerged as a skill. So I'm sure many of you are aware of Aristotle. Who was Aristotle? Do you know? He was a Greek philosopher and a polymath. He's often regarded as one of the founding figures of formal logic. So if you will read one of his work, Organon, Aristotle introduced key concepts such as syllogistic reasoning, which provided a structured framework for deductive reasoning. He formulated principles of logic, including the laws of non-contradiction, excluded middle, and identity, which laid the foundation for later developments in logic. Even if you read about the ancient Greeks, so they also made significant strides in formalizing logical reasoning and philosophical inquiry. Early Greek philosophers such as Thales and Pythagoras laid the groundwork for deductive reasoning by formulating general principles and hypotheses about the natural world. Even if you talk about Egyptians, so that civilization also contributed to the development of logical reasoning through its advancements in mathematics, particularly arithmetic and geometry. Even Egyptian mathematicians developed methods for solving practical problems involving land measurement, construction, and taxation, laying the groundwork for more sophisticated mathematical reasoning. And Mesopotamia, ancient Mesopotamia, the roots of logical reasoning can be seen there as well in that civilization, where early forms of mathematical reasoning and problem solving emerged. Mesopotamian scholars developed systems for recording numerical data, making calculations, and solving practical problems related to trade, agriculture, and administration. Even in the Islamic scholars in medieval ages, they developed logical reasoning and they continue it to study it and develop it, particularly by Al-Kindi, Al-Farabi, and Avicenna. These scholars preserved and expanded upon the works of Aristotle and other Greek philosophers, contributing to advancements in logic, mathematics, and philosophy. In the modern era, developments in mathematics, philosophy, and computer science have expanded the scope of logical reasoning. In the 20th century, the advent of symbolic logic and computational logic paved the way for applications in fields such as we all know, artificial intelligence, computer science, and even linguistics, my dear viewers. So this video is going to really benefit you. So watch this video till the end. I'm going to explain each and every detail of logical reasoning skill in this video. Now let's understand that what is logical reasoning? What does this word logical reasoning means? As I've given you the background that how logical reasoning skills emerged, okay, and what is logic? There were different philosophers, there were different mathematicians, explorers, and from different civilizations who studied, who explored this particular skill. So basically, if we go by the slide, I'll go slowly in Hindi and English both. Logical reasoning refers to the ability to think critically and make sound judgments based on evidence and reasoning. It involves analyzing, evaluating arguments, identifying patterns, and drawing valid conclusions. Logical reasoning is fundamental in problem solving, decision making, and academic pursuits. So, what actually it is, you require a particular sound judgment, a particular structured framework to assess the validity of anything. Okay, whether validity of an argument against anything, or you want to identify different sorts types of patterns. For instance, you want to draw some kind of conclusions regarding a particular topic, right? Or you want to solve a particular problem, or for the even, there's a design thinking technique we use in education and in designing as well to solve problems. It's a technique to solve problems, right? Or we have to make decisions. So logic based decisions or decision making um, bounds to be more accurate than inaccurate. Why? Because there is a reason behind it. You have data and you analyze that data, okay, and when you analyze it, you understand from all the aspects of that data, right? And you make decisions based on factual grounds. So that's how the decision is also quite accurate when it's based on logic and reason. And for logic and reason you need data to analyze, okay? Whether on a leadership role you want to make decisions about policies, you want to make decisions about your team, you want to make decisions about products or change in product or team management. So definitely it requires data, and when you analyze it, you make decisions based on the analysis of that data, and that creates a sound judgment about what you have to do. So that's why logical reasoning is important to develop. Now, the importance is that critical thinking, problem solving, decision making, or for academic success. So this is the importance, that why we need to, and there can be much more than what's given here or what I've written here. So, definitely in everything that you do in your life, if you make decisions just based on emotions rather logic, then your decision making skill might be affected. So to increase the accuracy of decision making is important that you should make decisions based on the facts around a particular situation, or a particular situation or a thing, or anything you would like to make decision about, or any problem you would like to solve, or for your any research or any innovative methods you are finding in academics or in general. So the decisions based on logic are practical also, and they have a less rate of being inaccurate in nature. So that's why logical reasoning is also important. And it develops critical thinking, it develops problem solving abilities in an individual, it develops decision making abilities, and of course, it makes you successful in your research or academic pursuits. Of course, overall, it develops your intelligence, right? Another thing that I would like to highlight here, in terms of when we are talking about intelligence, then how can I leave this particular topic of cognitive processes that gets influenced with logical reasoning skill. So, cognitive processes play a crucial role in logical reasoning, as they influence how individuals perceive, analyze, and interpret any sort of information, or in the form of a data they are analyzing it, so they can draw conclusion. So, how your perception is Okay, your perception involves the initial processing of sensory information. So the way individuals perceive and interpret stimuli can influence their understanding of premises and the formation of logical arguments, right? So your perception is quite needs to be strong to for the initial processing, that whatever you would like to evaluate about. Then attention. So attention is also very important, that determines which information individual focus on and process. Effective logical reasoning requires attention to relevant details and the ability to filter out irrelevant information. So that's how you're able to differentiate what is necessary and what is not necessary, and then you can distinguish between both the fragments, and you can make more um, sound decisions, or more sound judgments, or more evaluated and more accurate decisions. Of course, memory. So memory is again a cognitive process because it stores information and past experiences that individuals draw upon during reasoning tasks, that whatever experience they had in the past, based on that the decision also gets influenced. Memory retrieval errors such as forgetting relevant premises or misremembering facts can lead to faulty reasoning, right? Of course, problem solving and decision making and executive functions, again, there are cognitive processes such as planning, inhibition, cognitive flexibility. So they also guide and regulate logical reasoning processes. So the individuals who have strong executive functions may exhibit better logical reasoning abilities, as they can effectively plan, monitor, and adjust their reasoning strategies as needed. Of course, when you talk about metacognition, so metacognition involves awareness and control of one's own cognitive processes. Individuals who possess metacognitive skills can monitor their reasoning processes, identify errors or inconsistencies in their thinking, and adjust their reasoning strategies accordingly. Metacognitive reflection can enhance the accuracy and reliability of logical reasoning by promoting self correction, critical evaluation of one's own reasoning. So, cognitive processes in general significantly influence logical reasoning by shaping how individuals perceive, process, and interpret any sort of an information, as well as how they apply logical rules or draw conclusions regarding the same. So, reasoning is classified on the basis of these deductive reasoning, inductive, and abductive. So, the most important point I would like to highlight here with respect to reasoning and logical reasoning, that how deductive reasoning challenge uncertainty. But before that, we must know what is deductive reasoning. What does this mean? Now, as per the definition I've mentioned here, is drawing specific conclusions from general principles or premises. Example, all mammals are warm-blooded. Elephants are mammals. Therefore, elephants are warm-blooded. What do you understand by this? Now, let me explain this to you. For example, if you read it again, all mammals are warm-blooded. This is the premise one. Okay. So this statement establishes a general principle or rule about mammals, stating that all members of the mammalian class share the characteristic of being warm-blooded. Now the second is elephants are mammals, right? So the premise provides a specific information about elements here. Elephants here, right? That they are mammals, identifying them as belonging to the mammalian class. So you have two premises here. They are called as premise. If we break it down here, all mammals are warm-blooded. So this is first premise of the given example here, when we are um, drawing conclusion based on the deductive reasoning as explained. So what is deductive reasoning? Drawing specific conclusions from general principles. What is actually given there? General principle. So the general principle says here that if it is written all mammals are warm-blooded, that means all the mammals are warm-blooded. Now, they are specifying here that elephants are mammals, therefore, elephants are warm blooded. So, the conclusion here is using deductive reasoning, we combine the general principle established in premise 1 with the specific information provided in premise 2 to draw a logical conclusion. Since all mammals are warm blooded in premise 1 here, and elephants are mammal, that is premise 2, it logically follows that elephants must also be warm blooded. This is deductive reasoning. This is how you draw conclusion. That one is that all mammals are warm blooded, right? And second is elephants are mammals, therefore elephants are warm blooded. So this is how we drew the conclusion that yes, elephants are warm blooded. I hope this is clear. Now, how we can understand that this argument is true or not? How will you understand your conclusion is whether true or false? The conclusion logically follows from the premises. This is the first reason that it can be true. If the premises are true, the conclusion must also be true. The argument is structured such that the conclusion is necessarily true based on the premises. What is given here, right? There is no uncertainty or ambiguity in the conclusion as it is derived directly from established principles and specific information given. Therefore, this conclusion remains or argument remains true or factual, right? So the example here illustrates deductive reasoning by demonstrating how a specific conclusion about elephants being warm-blooded is logically derived from general principles about mammals and specific information about elephants' classifications as mammals. So our conclusion remains true by nature. I hope this is very much clear to you. Now let's come to the inductive reasoning. Before that, I also rose a question when I've started explaining the types here, that how it challenges uncertainty. So, deductive reasoning is a very powerful tool for confronting uncertainty because it allows individuals to draw conclusions with a high degree of certainty when the premises are true and the reasoning is valid. I've explained you what is reasoning. I've explained you what are premises, how we drew the conclusions based on deductive reasoning. So how we can challenge uncertainty. So in deductive reasoning, if the premises are true and the reason is valid, the conclusion must necessarily follow. This means that deductive conclusions are certain and unequivocal, providing a level of certainty that can help individuals navigate uncertain situations with confidence. Secondly, it has clarity and precision, that it demands clarity and precision in formulating premises and deriving conclusions. So it challenges uncertainty. The third and the most important thing to remember here is that identify of invalid arguments. So if the argument is invalid, for example, deductive reasoning enables individuals to identify invalid arguments that contribute to uncertainty. So if the argument is invalid, so there is a chance of uncertainty. If the argument is valid, there is no chance of uncertainty. So by applying logical rules and principles, individuals can recognize flawed reasoning patterns and avoid drawing unwarranted conclusions, thereby reducing uncertainty in their reasoning process. I hope this is clear. Also, deductive reasoning, fosters critical thinking skills that are essential for confronting uncertainty. By systematically evaluating arguments and drawing logical conclusions, individuals can assess the validity of claims, challenge assumptions, and make informed judgments in uncertain or ambiguous situations. Right? So, this is how you're able to differentiate between certainty, anything that can happen, and uncertainty, which you are completely unaware of, right? We have just spoke about that, how a particular conclusion can be true based on the argument given. Now, in inductive reasoning, if we'll understand here this way with this beautiful example, that first of all, we need to understand what is inductive reasoning. So, inductive reasoning is formed on the basis of generalizing from specific instances to form a broader conclusion, right? If you generalize things, right, to form a conclusion. For example, every crow I have seen is black, therefore, all crows are black. So, this is simply not true that every crow, that whatever crow I have seen is black, so therefore all crows are black. Usually crows are black in color. But if we analyze this example with the premise that every crow I have seen, so which crow you have not seen, you're also considering that crow also black, right? So one observation you have here is that every crow you have seen has been black, and the generalization you made here, that based on this observation that all crows are black, so the conclusion you derive that all crows are black. So it's not necessary because you have not observed each crow, but you are just uh, you're forming your judgment or your decision that all crows are black because you have what crows you've observed were black, maybe other crows may not be, right? So this is inductive reasoning. So here in this particular case, the conclusion is not necessarily true for all crows but is based on the evidence of your observation. Inductive reasoning is used because it moves from specific instances, the crows you've seen, to a general conclusion, all crows are black. While the conclusion may be highly probable based on your observations, there's always a possibility of encountering a non-black crow in the future, which would challenge the generalization. So, as I've just said, that it's not necessary, right? Inductive reasoning doesn't provide absolute certainty, but rather a degree of probability based on the observed evidence. Now, in abductive reasoning, you form a hypothesis, right? For example, the grass is wet, it must have rained. So you are observing that the grass is wet. So your hypothesis is that the grass is wet, so probably it must have rained. That is why the grass is wet. So your hypothesis is that it must have rained based on the observation. So the inference here is that the rain is the most likely explanation for the wet grass. So what can be the most probable reason or most probable explanation with reference to this example, because we are discussing this example here for abductive reasoning. So that's the only reason, because it might have rained. Now in abductive reasoning, the conclusion is plausible explanation for the observed phenomena, right? It involves inferring the best or most likely. It can be true, but it can be false also. Probably the grass might be wet because of any other reason, not because just it must have rained. So, but most likely, what is the most um, probable reason, as I've just said, uh, of of uh, that the grass is wet because it must have rained. Okay. So most likely what can happen. Abductive reasoning is common in everyday problem solving and hypothesis formation. So every day we, any in any given situation. So we form a hypothesis, and what can be the most or close reason, or what can be the closest of or most likely event that can happen because of something, or is the reason, or it's the foundation for something or some event that happened. So that is abductive reasoning. So you take up abductive reasoning based on a hypothesis of your observation, and you draw a conclusion. So you draw conclusions based on what can be the most likely thing that can happen for a particular event to occur, right? Now, while the conclusion that it rained is a reasonable hypothesis based on the wet grass, it's possible that other factors such as dew, it could be wet because of dew, as I've just said. So abductive reasoning doesn't provide certainty but suggests the most likely explanation given the available evidence or a fact. I hope that deductive, inductive, and abductive reasoning are clear. So, for certainty, deductive reasoning is the most powerful tool to use to draw certain conclusions. So, of course, how can you develop? By practicing critical thinking. You can engage in debates and discussions that, evaluate arguments, and you also challenge what is assumed or assumptions. So, your reasoning can be refined, okay, by practicing logic with puzzles or chess or problem solving, okay, that also strengthen your analytical thinking. And you also seek feedback from mentors or instructors, so this way you can strategize for improvement in your logical reasoning. So of course the real world applications are in everyday situation of our life, in our professions, and if in fact not with respect to a certain profession but for everybody. In logical reasoning can be applied into day-to-day situations also, or for making decisions for your personal life as well. But uh, on a more broader aspect of this, so in engineering, engineers utilize logical reasoning for design structures, okay, in business. And of course educators, they use logical reasoning for lesson planning, curriculum development, student learning outcomes. So here we can apply our knowledge of logical reasoning. Thank you so very much for watching this video till the end. I hope you um, enhanced some knowledge about logical reasoning skill to develop, and of course also you updated knowledge how you can be more certain in certain situations rather than the ambiguity or uncertainty that we often associate our life events with. Definitely, we need to trust ourselves, believe on ourselves, but there are other ways also to deal with uncertainty based on logical reasoning. So develop logical reasoning skills to, reduce uncertain events in your life, as well as making more informed decisions and practical decisions in your life. Thank you very much for watching this video till the end. Um, you can find more about us at vertexsolution.com. Reach to me for any particular topic you require. You need any free books, ebooks, or worksheets or notes, any sort of learning material, do contact us. Visit our website. Do go through different pages on our website. I'm sure you're going to like it. And share any particular topic you would like to study. We will definitely help you out with it. Thank you and have a great day.